The game of advertising has changed yet again, and unless you have adapted to the current reality of meta advertising, there's a good chance that you're bleeding money and that your dollars are just not returning as many other dollars as you would like to see. So in this video, we're going to break down the current best practices for healthcare advertising. That means if you own a cash or private pay facility and you offer services such as weight loss, aesthetics like Botox and fillers, and maybe even things like pain management, chiropractic, physical therapy, and the like, this video is going to break down what's working right now in real time so you can apply these principles into your own advertising processes to ultimately see a better result. So if you're new here, welcome in. All we do is talk about how to hit $200,000 a month inside of your healthcare or medical spa, whether that be brick and mortar or telehealth. You can apply these principles today. So again, if you're new, welcome in. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. You're gonna wanna buckle in. We're gonna break down all the best practices of advertising today, and we're gonna talk about three things. Number one, we're gonna talk about creative volume. The creative volume requirements has changed. We're gonna talk about them at length today. Okay, second thing is gonna be the style of creative. That means what kind of ads are we running for our clients right now? What's working? Is it videos? Is it photos? Is it both? What are the best practices? We'll share them with you. And then finally, we are going to finish with the number one thing that everybody wants to know is what kind of funnel do we run and what is the layout of that specific funnel. So we're gonna break that down today. So without further ado, let's begin. Okay, so first things first, creative volume. So the volume of creative AKA photos and videos, the volume that's now required is now substantially higher than what was required in the past. So let's first break down creative volume, just so you have an understanding on what's going to be important for you, okay? So it used to be that we would run one campaign, we would have an ad set, and then we would probably run 3, maybe 4, sometimes 5 different ads, okay? This style in particular has kind of ultimately been wiped off the planet, and it's not really going to come back for us right now, because what's happened is that Meta has changed from audience targeting to message targeting. Okay? So what that means for us is that the message is what's actually producing the high quality lead. So the better the message that we have, the Meta will then go out and serve that message to the right individual. And so from a high level, how it works is that they have what's called an ad retrieval system. And that basically means that when an advertiser puts ads on Meta, it goes into this large bank of ads, okay? And then it uses the data from all the users on the platform to then serve the right user the right ad. And Meta has all kinds of different data points on their users and then also consumer behavior, okay? So they have a lot of data that we can't even comprehend on this video here today, okay? So we have to trust that the platform is going to serve our ad to the right people by just giving it the right message. So in order to accomplish that, the campaign structure has changed a little bit, okay? So now what it's looking like, you have your campaign, you have your ad set. Now we're running campaigns that look like this. Every one of these lines I'm drawing is an individual ad, okay? And sometimes there's even more than that, right? So all of these unique individual ads allow you as the advertiser to give the platform a diverse set of messages, okay? And so all of these ads are quite literally a little bit of a twist in the generalized messaging. They all have unique, messages. Okay, so let's break that down a little bit more. So what we've known so far is that we have to run a lot more creative volume in order to have a favorable outcome on this particular channel, okay? The next thing for us to consider is that we have to have diverse messages, okay? So with creative, we have to have diverse messages. Okay, so what that means for us is that if you think about your ideal avatar, I'll use like a pain-based approach just for this example. So you might have patients that you help with their neck, you help with their back, you help with sciatica, okay? Maybe you help with migraines, right? Whatever it is, okay? You have all these different diverse messages, okay? And so what would happen then is it used to be that we would just take all of these pain points and we would indirectly state them all in one ad. We might say something like, if you're struggling with neck pain, back pain, migraines, or sciatica, here's how we can help, Instead, what we're doing now is we're not actually placing these in one ad anymore, okay? What we're doing is we're actually making these all individual ads. So we have one ad for neck pain, we have one ad specifically for back, one ad for sciatica, one ad for migraines, and then this ad will get served to the relevant user. So instead of boxing all these messages together, we're basically having the individualized approach so that it gives Meta enough data to serve the ad to the right person, okay? So the big lesson here, number one, is diverse messaging, but the second thing is you must have trust in the advertising platform that you're using. If you don't have trust, then you're never gonna get the favorable result. See, a lot of people go into Meta and they basically have like this, and now they have this mindset whether they want to admit it or not, but they have a mindset that they're smarter than Meta, that they can do better. So they try to like limit it and they try to be cute, they try to be fancy, and they don't get the result, okay? So you have to have just very clear messaging. You have to trust the platform. You have to have clear messaging. And you have to have volume of creative, okay, to optimize. So give it a lot, and it will give you a lot more in return, okay? Now, the next thing for us to talk about are creative styles, okay? So creative styles. Okay, so what's working right now? Let's talk about two categories of creatives, most common. Photos, videos. Photos, here's what's working for us, okay? Number one, smiling faces. Action shots, especially if you own a local business. If you're brick and mortar, you can get action shots of patients and customers in the clinic, okay? Weirdly enough, we're finding that GIFs do well. GIF is kind of like a mix of a photo and a video, but sometimes what we'll do is we'll take a video, or excuse me, we'll take a photo, we'll export it as a video. Facebook recognizes that as a video, and we get into a different pocket, okay? Next thing we do is collage, where we put all the client submits a bunch of photos and we collage them all together in different ways. So we kind of just make it look more interesting, all right? Last thing we do, is the infographic. So we might just take some of the client's photos and then we might put some imagery and some design work on top of it, maybe describing the offer, maybe describing the problems, the outcomes, okay? So we're using infographics to ultimately position the imagery as the solution, okay? So we're showing more about the offer, more about the clinic, right? That's kind of like an infographic, all right? Most notably with infographics, we're doing offer elaboration. So we're getting a chance to use images to have like a little blurb of text, very short, again, about the problems, outcomes, and circumstances of the buyer. We're using offer elaboration to talk deeper in the image, okay? So that's what's working for videos. For photos. What's working for videos, though? Number one, talking head. Okay, so people literally just speaking into a camera, and then what we'll do is we'll get the video from the client, we'll edit it up to make it look all nice, and then we'll run it, okay? So those are very message focused. That's why I lead with that, because that's what the new paradigm is about, is messaging, right? Talking head does well. Okay, we may do some general action videos in terms of like maybe like people getting adjusted if it's a chiropractic office, people getting a treatment if it's PT, maybe people like getting like, before and afters of fillers or something like that, okay? We're also using UGC, which is typically testimonials, okay? So with testimonials, one note is they must be direct response specific. Okay, so like I say that because most testimonials are not designed for direct response ads. If you think about the 3 phases of marketing, we're not going to digress too deeply, but you have awareness, consideration, and conversion. So the consideration phase is where you want to blast people with testimonials. So when people shoot testimonials, a lot of times if they shoot them incorrectly, they don't work as far as ads. But if you do them correctly with a direct response specific format, you can get a really good outcome using UGC and testimonials, okay? Little pause here. Okay, last couple things that we're doing is AI actors. In addition to the last one, paid actors. Okay, so we use AI a little bit with ourselves and our clients, and basically we'll use like a different actor. You can just go on these different websites, you can put in a script, and then it'll produce like some AI. You can choose like a bunch of different actors, but it'll give you the context, it'll give you what you ask it for. I'm finding that these are not the end-all be-all. AI is good, but it's not like quite there yet. So we might use it for a hook, we might use it in a section of the video, or maybe even the call to action, but we're not finding it's best in the whole video. And then paid actors, we'll just go on like freelance websites, give people scripts, and basically say, hey, shoot us these, spend the next 4 hours, shoot these scripts, we'll give you $1,000. And then when we have scripts for like a ton of people, right? So that's another strategy that we might ultimately go after if we find that it's gonna be relevant for our client, okay? So those are the creative styles. All right, that brings us to the last thing that we're gonna talk about today, which is funnel structures, okay? So everybody always wants to know what type of funnels we run, how we lay them out, so I'm gonna walk you through them right now, okay? We use 2 main funnels with our clients. The first funnel is a basic lead to schedule. Okay, so how that funnel works is we run an ad, then we take somebody to an opt-in. After they opt in, we take them to a scheduler. And then after they schedule, then they'll be given some sort of qualification. And then it will be confirmed. Okay, so if we break this down, you have an ad, okay, right here. Ad's purpose is to drive to get the lead, to get them to opt in. Once they become a lead, we allow them to book an appointment time, okay? We want to see about 60 to 70% of the people who request appointments. And by the way, this is a request. Okay, then what happens is either our team or our client's team will call the request. They'll do a little qualification with them. And then once they're qualified, then they'll mark them as confirmed, okay? So the end outcome is you take a couple different things. Number one, you get leads, so you build a list. 2, you allow hot leads to take action, so hot leads book. And then the third thing is you qualify. And the qualify is typically phone, Zoom, or sometimes in person. We prefer to do phone or Zoom because it's more efficient for the clinic to screen people over the phone or Zoom. In person takes up a lot of clinical time, especially if they're not like a direct fit to get help, okay? So that's the first funnel. Second funnel we use is called the qualification funnel. In both of these, by the way, we're using a diverse set of ads. I'm just using one ad as an example, but this is where we would run like 25 to 30, okay? So in the qualification funnel, you start, it's a little bit different, but it has the same outcome. It just depends on the offer. So this one we would run ad. Okay, then we would take them to a landing page. So we'll call it actually a scheduler, because that's what the person thinks that they're gonna do. When they go to schedule, it actually takes them to an application. And then on the application, depending on how they answer those questions, they will be either taken to calendar A or they'll be taken to calendar B. So either way, after the application, they're gonna book a call. Here's the difference though. If somebody goes to calendar A, that means, let's just assume for this example, they're qualified. Okay, if they actually complete the call using calendar A, then what we're gonna do is we're gonna send their information back to Meta. So we're gonna actually send their info, their demographics. That's called the Meta Pixel. So the Meta Pixel, when you get like a lead or you get a booking, it recognizes who booked, and then it shows you in the ads manager that this ad got a lead, and then you can usually trace who that lead was. Okay, so if you don't have a qualifier though, what can happen is you just get a bunch of people that are unqualified to book, but then those continue to report back to Meta. So then Meta learns on the wrong people. So by having a segmentation with the application process, you're not sending a bunch of poor qualified leads back to the pixel. Okay, so you're still able to get the appointment, and then you can do like manual qualification, but you're ideally making your pixel smarter over time. Okay, so that is the whole purpose of this funnel number 2, which is the qualification funnel. All right. So again, it's two different mechanisms that we'll use for our clients, to be clear. Let me see if I can draw a line. Just a couple of notes as we wrap this up. Okay, number 1 is most common, the first funnel. So most common is number 1. Okay, for the second funnel, it is used in a couple scenarios. Number 1, if we do more mass market stuff, because it's just a larger number. Like if you don't have a ton of audience, you don't usually need to add like a lot of friction. So if you have mass market, it's good to use. It's also really good to use if you're also still selling high ticket. So to be fair, like a lot of our clients will use the first funnel and they still sell high ticket, but maybe they're like a local business. So they don't have like a ton of volume. They're not selling nationally, right? So in that case, we would probably to use number 1, okay? The second one is used when you have a huge market. Let's say like an example would be like functional med. Like functional med, mass market, you're qualified in multiple different states, like that would be a good one. And then it needs to be high ticket. If you're not selling something that's like high ticket, number 1, we're probably not going to be helping you, and maybe you may not even get value from this channel, to be clear. So like high ticket is like very common for what we do. But if you're mass market and high ticket, this is something that we may explore depending on how you do go about qualifying people in your already existing processes. So action steps from today, we always like to lead with action steps. Number 1, creative volume. You need to 5x your volume on creative. Okay, you need to just do way more creative. That's going to have a huge upside for you. Number 1 is you need to test new ad styles. Okay, that's where we talk about the different ad styles: UGC, the photos, the collages, the infographics, the talking heads. Okay, additionally, you need to test new funnels. So if you're running an opt-in to booking, maybe just try running a straight booking and then you're qualifying the booking, right? Maybe you're doing great on the call funnel, add in a webinar, right? So test new funnels. And that's ultimately going to help you start adding more funnels on top of each other that are successful so you can continue to scale the business, okay? So hope that's been helpful. By the way, if you guys got value from this, we appreciate you being here. The biggest disservice you can give us always is doing nothing, not taking action on these ideas, okay? Now, if you want to see if we can help you at a deeper level, I'll leave some links in the description below. One is to apply to work directly with our agency. We'll usually work with clients and come in the clients are doing anywhere between like 40 to 100,000 a month, and they want to scale up from there. So if you feel like you're in that realm and you want someone to come in hands-on, you can certainly apply to work with us at the link below. I've also put a link to what's called our Master Clinical Marketing Program. That program is more if you want to like take your marketing in-house, or you want to go down, you want to learn more about this stuff, like you physically want to educate yourself on this material. There's a link for Master Clinical Marketing. Okay, that's for an individual who, again, wants to either learn it, has a team they want to teach it to, or maybe they're just getting started in the business. Maybe that could be you. You're just getting started and you're looking for something to kind of jumpstart you, right? So again, I'll leave those links below. You can apply for either of them depending on what best fits you. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video as we bring you more material about what's working right now in real time. And if you have any suggestions for content, drop in the comments. Let us know how we're doing. We're always happy to take recommendations as well. But I appreciate you guys being here. We'll look forward to seeing you in the next one. Until then, take action, and we'll see you soon.